You're going home tonight, and as you approach your front door, you see that all of your belongings are laying out on the street. You go to try the key. The door lock's been changed. Then you realize you've been wrongfully kicked out of your home, wrongfully evicted. What are you going to do now? Well, at bare minimum, you're going to have to fork over $250 an hour to an attorney. Now imagine for me for a second that you're a low-income American. You live paycheck to paycheck. You have zero disposable income. What are you going to do? Well, you have to kiss your home goodbye because you can't afford an attorney and you won't figure out how to solve your problem. If you have nowhere else to go, you very realistically could end up homeless. And then your problems really begin. You can lose custody of your children. You might lose your job. This is a glimpse into the access to justice problem. In the US, there's no constitutional right to an attorney outside of criminal law. So for instance, if you rob a bank, or if you're accused of robbing a bank, you can have an attorney. If you're unlawfully kicked out of your home or deprived of custody of your children, sorry, you're out of luck. And this is the problem that we're addressing at Esqalate. So, how are we trying to address this problem? Esqalate's mission is to provide low and moderate income Americans with meaningful access to legal representation. And we're doing that through technology. We have two different web platforms. There's Proboknow and Lowboknow. Those clients who have some means, yet not enough for market rate, with affordable legal representation. So now, probably some of you are thinking, how do you get the attorneys involved? If market rate for an attorney is $250 an hour, why would somebody provide free legal help? Well, new attorneys are struggling to find work after law school. Close to 50% of them can't find a job even close to a year after graduating. What's the obstacle? They lack practical experience. They pretty much need practical experience in the first place to land their first job, and especially the job that they actually want. So we connect low-income clients with new attorneys who are looking to gain practical experience, and in turn, we connect those attorneys who are looking for practical experience with experienced attorney mentors to help guide them through their cases. Now comes the next question. Well, what's in it for an experienced attorney? They don't need the practical experience. This might be shocking to a lot of you because of all the bad lawyer jokes out there, but it turns out that 80% of attorneys across the nation are engaged in pro bono work. The problem is they're just not doing nearly enough of it. And why? Because it's very inconvenient for them and it's very time consuming. So at Pro Bono, we allow an experienced attorney who's interested in giving back to the community to mentor a newer attorney through a case rather than directly representing the client. And that cuts down on the amount of time that an experienced attorney actually needs to spend on each case. They sit back, give high-level legal advice to the newer attorney, and they let the newer attorney handle all of the grunt work involved, like filing paperwork at the court, showing up to court, even getting the client on the phone. And that way, they can actually do more pro bono work. All right, so that is pro bono, and that's how it works. What about low bono? So once again, low bono is there for those clients who have some means and yet not enough to afford $250 an hour. That's actually a huge chunk of the American population. In fact, the definition of low income, those who are actually served by legal aids, the bar is set so low that even if you have a full-time minimum wage job in California, you already earn too much. So, how do we get attorneys involved in providing affordable representation? Well, our target is solo attorneys in small firms. Small firms meaning 5 or fewer attorneys. They have a huge pain point, and that pain point is marketing. They often run below capacity. They're expected to spend at least 10% of their gross revenue on marketing, and yet they're attorneys, not marketers, so they don't even do it effectively once they spend the money. We allow them to come to our platform. They pay $50 a month, and they can access as many paying clients as they want. And now you might be thinking, well, why would they discount their rates? Well, right now, the going rate on low bono is close to $100 an hour. It's less than half of market rate, and yet very worthwhile for solo attorneys in small firms that are running below capacity. All right, so I'm gonna skip a few slides here because we have limited time. Basically, I just want to point out, we launched in April of last year. At that time, I was working without my friend here, Ilya. He joined in November. With very limited resources, we got traction very quickly. And to date, we have actually managed to provide over $80,000 worth of legal services through our platforms. And with the feedback that we've gotten from our current users, we're making drastic improvements, which should launch in a couple weeks. Isn't that right, Billy? He's the tech guy. So as you can see, it says April 2017. It's already been pushed back a little bit. Sorry, Ilya. So we're eventually shooting for nationwide expansion. And I just want to leave you with 3 things. First of all, I'm sorry, I'll leave it here. We're trying to change the culture of law. We're trying to refocus the legal industry on justice. And we're doing that by getting new attorneys involved in doing pro bono work early on in their careers so that they can see the sort of impact they can make. And they'll carry that lesson throughout their entire career. Second of all, we have a revenue model. Through Low Bono, we plan on hitting break even relatively quickly. Our projections show that it's going to take maybe 570 Low Bono attorneys, subscribers, to get us to a point of sustainability so that we don't rely on nonprofit funding sources year after year after year. And we know that that funding is very scarce. So let's save it for other nonprofits. But with that being said, we still haven't hit break even yet, and we're raising funding to get there. We're looking to raise an additional $400,000, and we're also looking to build out our board. Thank you very much.